Okay, we are ready to get sewing with the Secret Jeans trousers. You've cut out all of your pieces. You've also cut out your interfacing, and you will need to apply the interfacing. It's just on the waistband pieces. So use a fusible interfacing, or you can use a sew-in interfacing, and you're going to interface one front waistband and two back waistbands. The back waistband comes in two pieces. There is a seam in the back here, and it's there because it makes it a lot easier if you ever have to make an adjustment to the waistband or to the elastic to get at it through the center back seam instead of the side seam. It's an extra little style detail that you'll appreciate if you ever have to make an alteration. So once you've got your interfacing done, you can get started on the pockets. The front pockets, just to, again, orient everybody, are these inset style pockets. They're sort of like the kind of pockets that you have in jeans. Everyone is familiar with these pockets. And what's great about them is they're very usable. They're right where you need them to be, right in the front, but they don't sit on the sides. They don't bag out. They never gape out. Stuff never falls out of them. They're a really great design for a pocket, and I'm delighted that they're in the Secret Jeans trousers for you. There's 4 pieces to the pockets, and it gets a little confusing because they all have similar names. So each piece has a number, which I think helps. Piece 3 is the facing for the pocket, and you're going to cut 2 of those. Piece 4 is the pocket bag facing, and then you've got the 2 pocket bags themselves, which you can cut out of a lining fabric. This is piece 5. This is the bag lining, and piece 6 is the pocket bag itself. So something you'll notice about, say, here's piece 5. There's this dotted line here, and that, of course, corresponds to the facing for its piece. So you're going to go just like that for both the bag and for the lining. You're going to start by just giving the raw edges of both piece 3 and piece 4, just on the unnotched edge, the curved unnotched edge. You're just going to want to finish those. You can use a serger or an overcast stitch, or if you want to get really fancy, you could use a little bias binding or something on them, just to keep all of that edge nice and clean for the work that is to come. Don't trim the seam allowances off on those facing pieces because you will need that later. So I've just run mine through the serger. You can see I've just cleaned this whole edge up, and now it is ready to be applied to the bag pieces. And it goes just like this. Here's piece 6 and piece 4, and you can see how piece 4 is going to fit right on top of piece 6. The notches up here are going to match, and it's going to align. The stitching line is going to align exactly where it's shown here on piece 6. You may think this is kind of a weird technique. Why would you finish that and then lay it on top of the other piece? But you'll see that's exactly what ready-to-wear does. Here's a pair of ordinary ready-to-wear jeans, and you can see here's the pocket, and there's exactly the way the facing is done. It makes for a solid seam. It gives additional support to that pocket area. If you just sewed it as a regular seam without that overlap, your pocket may wear out over time. So this is good also to prevent wear or to keep the pocket from stretching out. And you want to apply the wrong side of the facing to the right side of the pocket. So for example, here's my facing in this maroon fabric, and then my pocket bag is in this pretty poppy print, and it's the wrong side to the right side. And the same thing with the pocket bag facing and the pocket bag, right side to wrong side. So you're just going to stitch just along here, all along the edge, and you'll be ready for the next step. Okay, that's that piece, and then I'll show you what it looks like to do this piece. Also, the other facing can do like a little chain. A little chain sewing makes it go fast. So that's it, and then I'm going to do the other two, and then we'll be on to put them onto the fronts of the pants. And you should have something that looks like this, a pair of the front pockets. This combined piece is now called the front pocket, and a pair of the pocket bags, which is this combined piece is now called pocket bags. So now we're going to put them on the pants. Okay, you have everything laid out. You have the top of the right side of your pant, the right side of your pocket together, and you're just going to sew right along here, 5/8 of an inch, just along this curved area right here, the seam, 5/8 of an inch here on both ones, and then you're going to turn the pocket to the inside. You're going to have to clip these curve quite a bit so that it'll fold under easily. So we've just sewn the seam right here, so the pocket to the front of the pants, and now you have to give it a good clip, and take some good sharp scissors and clip almost to the stitching line. And you clip pretty closely, especially in this tight curved area here. You can clip a little more loosely when you get toward the other side where it's a little flatter. But you want to give it a good clip all the way down. And then you'll be turning the pocket to the inside. And it will lie like this. If you're making the trousers, which is view A of this pattern, you will want to understitch this so that this pocket really stays put under there, but you don't have a lot of top stitching, which is going to make a more informal, sporty look. If you're using view B, which is the jeans version, you can go ahead and just top stitch that area so that it stays put. So to understitch it, what you have to do is sew. These are the seam allowances of the seam we just sewed, and what you want to do is sew those down to the facing. Again, this curved piece here is the facing, so go to your iron and give it a good press, and just press the seam allowances so that they're lying on top of the facing like this. And then we'll understitch them. Okay, everything is nice and pressed over, and so you have the two seam allowances and then the facing. And what you want to do is just move your needle over a couple millimeters, and then you want to sew just a couple millimeters away from that line that you just did through the seam allowances and into the facing. So this understitching is not going to show on the right side. And with your fingers, you can pull this apart or just smooth it a little in addition to the pressing that you did, so that you get as good a crisp seam as you can. And what I'm doing is I'm just landing up the center of my presser foot with the seam I just sewed, so that since I moved the needle over a couple, the understitching will be just a tiny bit over to the side. And here's what it looks like when you're done. There's the original row of stitching we did, and then here's the understitching. And then you can see how nice this is this is the right side of the pocket. It's a nice clean finish there. And on the inside, there's the original seam line, and then there's the understitching, then the facing and the pocket bag facing. So everything will lie nice and flat, and you'll have a good quality pocket there that will stand up over time. Now I will show you how to put on the second half of the pocket bag. Here's one more look at it. I just pressed it quickly, and here's what it looks like on the right side. If you're doing view B again, or if you want a jeans look or even a more casual look, you can do a line of top stitching along here, or even 2 lines of top stitching. Now we're going to go on to the second half of the pocket, which is the pocket bag. And here it is. You'll recall we've got the facing sewn on, and it's going to go just on a sandwich just like this. You're going to match up your notches. This stitching line and this stitching line from the other facing, those should match up perfectly, and your notches up here. Gonna just give it some pins, and what we're gonna do is sew all the way around the bag. So we're gonna just go all the way along here and sew up this whole bag together. And then we're just going to baste it to the sides and the top up here, just so that everything stays in place until we're ready to assemble the rest of the pants, put the fronts and the backs together. So we've got everything pinned, and we're just going to sew just the pocket bags together. Tuck the actual fronts of your trousers out of the way. You don't want to get those caught in the stitches right now. All you want to do is just sew the two bags together. Again, it's a 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Then we're just doing the bag, so I'm going to tuck the pant out of the way. And then once you've done that, you'll want to finish the seam. I'm going to run it through the serger, but you could also use an overcast stitch, or you could use a little bias binding or something if you want to be fancy. I've got the serger here, so I'm just going to go and finish it on the serger. Okay. And here is what this looks like. This should start looking like a proper pocket at this point. Here's our little pocket. Just put a couple pins in here. Should look like a proper pocket. And what you're going to do is just baste it where I put these pins just along the top and along the side, just to keep everything in place until we're ready to put the fronts on at the backs.